All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. Today we will be doing EV and charging. I have a slightly busy workday today, so we are doing this video during live trading hours, so you will see percentages move, you will see candles go up and down, okay? Nonetheless, we should have a good video. Hey, really quickly, I sincerely appreciate your time. I hope you could either like or subscribe, but nonetheless, thank you so much for just showing up. So what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly to see what's setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There's only one, but there are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. So clearly there's a lot of good going on right here. And before I get into here, I just quickly want to show the NASDAQ. So if you're part of the mailing list that I do send out, I've been talking about this 100 for almost a week now, right? Looked like it wanted to break there, a little bit of a scare, looked like it was ready to go end of the week, and then today we get some real nice confirmation. And look how close the NASDAQ is to the 200 moving average. And look how long it's been since we've even been close, right? Basically, April was the last relative close one, right? So a lot of good is happening on NASDAQ. And obviously, if NASDAQ does well, you're gonna do well in tech, right? So last time I made this video, I very much stressed this line right here, the 123.33, because again, there's so many reds right here that the goal would have been to just break it and go. Just like we saw in the NASDAQ, right? It looked like it was ready. It did a little bit of a fail, and then it looks like now it's good. What I do like, you can see it right there, right? We've been struggling with the 8 for so long. Then we actually use the 8 as a bounce point. That's huge, right? It just shows that the 8 is no longer the scary resistance. Hopefully it might actually start turning into that much needed support, right? So at this point, look where we're at, right? We are halfway through these reds. This guy right here will pretty much take us to the 50 moving average. And again, just zooming out, that 50 is no joke either, right? So there's no guarantee we'll get over it. But if we do, again, the belief is you're going to come at least to right here, hey, maybe all the way up to this 200 line, okay? The real important thing to say is that earnings is definitely coming up in the next couple days. I'll be honest, me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of having money in a stock before earnings are released, okay? I have zero idea how they're doing. I know that they're discounting cars and it's pissing off a lot of people, right? Because you should be paying top dollar for a Tesla, right? So I don't know how that's going to play out. And I'm not here to guess how the earnings are going to play out, right? So more than likely, I'll probably do a a limit sell up here, just right at that 50 at 153, a little bit under it, right? If I can profit some good money right there, I'll probably get out, see what the earnings looks like, and then hey, if earnings are good, I believe we'll go from the 50 to the 100. Otherwise, I'll at least be out, maybe a significant percentage out. But yeah, so far we're filling this. I just really wish earnings wasn't around the corner. If earnings was not around the corner, we'd wait for this whole thing to fill, in my opinion, right? But I'm just a little more cautious. But real quick, that's a real nice MACD. Look at all that separation, right? That's a beautiful thing. Green keeps going up, red kind of stays down. And then nothing spectacular on the RSI, but it kind of looks like it wants to peek away a little bit, but wish volume was a little better. But nonetheless, at this point, it's really about this gap fill of all those reds, right? Okay, this is a big point for us on the weekly, right? We were very scared when Tesla lost the 200. We is me, obviously, right? But yeah, I mean, it's a scary thing to lose the 200 on the weekly. The real good thing is, again, that line that I talked about earlier was really the place that picked us up. Because again, once you're under all the moving averages, there's only 5, right? And once you're under them all, these lines are worth their weight in gold if they're drawn well, right? So but yeah, nonetheless, look, Tesla does look nice. Again, with the NASDAQ looking good, it seems like this 153 should be realistic. Again, if you feel earnings are going to be good, you can play it out, however you want. Again, I'm always just a little more skeptical and cautious when it comes to earnings, right? So, but yeah, Tesla is looking real good. Coming into Ford. Okay, so what's happened with Ford, right? We talked about Ford just really loving this 8 moving average, right? Let me just zoom out a little bit. horrible, horrible, horrible. You break it and the 20 as well, right? And you just ride on up. You lose it and ride on down. You break it right on up. And it looks like, where are we right now? Look, we've used the 20 as the bounce point. Hopefully we're going to get over this 8. In all honesty, you know me, right? You have all 5 moving averages in this tight cluster right here. I hate trading in a tight cluster, right? Because you can violently get shot down. You can definitely get violently shot up too, right? But I would much rather wait for the 200 to break. I would, honestly, I would probably just wait for this thing right here. I'm more than okay giving up this roughly $1 trading to hopefully get this, couple dollars of trading right here, right? So I talk about looking for the easier trade, and I think this is a good example of it, right? When the moving averages are just this tight, it tends to make me want to look elsewhere, right? But hey, I'm glad we're over the 8. Rule number 1 is at least there. Hopefully it closes up here. I'm glad we use this 20 as a bounce point. That's awesome, right? So hopefully the 8 and the 20 become more of a support as this thing starts to go up, right? Because again, I'm just going to zoom out. This thing was a horrible resistance for a long time, right? So, and even here, there was one bounce there, but like, you should get multiple bounces. And actually here, it looks like it got a couple. So this one only had 1, this one had a couple, this one had none actually. But yeah, hopefully we can break this 200 and then just really use the 8 and the 20 as supports as it wants to. So overall, I'm not negative here. Again, I wouldn't touch this until we get over the 200. And really at that point, you might as well wait for this line just to get some good confirmation right there. But, and actually I'm going to lower this line. I'm going to put it right here. And actually it lines up exactly with this guy. But you can see I use the top of this one right here. I think that's going to be a little better for us immediately to use. So, yeah. Let me look at the weekly one. Oh, I haven't even looked at the weekly. Okay, again, look, we talked about the 200 on Tesla. We're not talking about it again on Ford. Scare, but a good bounce. Scare, but a good bounce. Scare, but a good bounce. My only problem is each of these bounces is getting lower, okay? You can see it, right? Let me just draw this really quickly. This is actually downtrending, which I do not like, right? That makes me feel like we're gonna now bounce here and then maybe go here, right? And it actually looks like it's starting to get a little steeper down, right? So it is really, really important that we make a good move this week, okay? Because this is actually not a good weekly. I realize that, things don't look horrible, but again, I don't like that we came this high on the bounce, then this high on the bounce, then this high. We got to the 50, got to the 100, got to the 20. I don't know if that means we're maybe going to lose this, right? So I don't like this weekly at all, actually. So, and look, in some ways it's not very tight, but yeah, you are in all 5 of the moving averages, right? So maybe this still needs to get a little bit tighter. I don't know. I really don't like this weekly at all. I'm going to say it one last time, but again, NASDAQ looks good. Hopefully that'll lift this. I don't know the earnings schedule here, so maybe earnings will help here, but yeah, not a good weekly and a very tight daily. So just things to consider. Okay, I'll be honest. I thought MULN might have done a little bit better today. So obviously there was some big noise on Friday with MULN. Okay, you can see it, right? It's not quite as tight a doji as this. I mean, it definitely made some profit, but yeah, there were people that bought up here and lost, right? So it was an interesting Friday for sure on MULN. Obviously, there was some noise on like short selling and like, trying to fight all that. If you watch my videos, I do not talk about short sell interests and stuff like that, right? This is as pure technical as I can be, right? But what's happening right now? Look, first and foremost, we're still under the 8 moving at. Rule number 1, don't buy a stock that's under the 8, okay? It's just, it does me well. Hopefully it's done you well. Obviously, this is not financial advice, right? But you're still under the 8, and in all honesty, you're also still under the 20, right? I've said it often. If things are bad enough, you ignore the 8 and wait for the 20, right? So I'm still a little uncomfortable here. Obviously, there's 4 moving averages. Where's our 5th one? Is it above or below? It's above. Okay, look, If we can break the 100 moving average, there's good reason to believe we're going to come up here, maybe to right here, okay? But I hope you can already see it. The better trading is between these lines than it is in between all of these lines, okay? So be patient, all right? I know it sounds weird because look at all these reds right here. Maybe this will green, green, green all the way to, again, just the way I do it, I would not touch this thing until we got over 36. I wouldn't, you know? And in all honesty, the safest place is to wait for 42. If you can wait to get over this 1.5 peak, that should make it smoother sailing till at least right here. And look, from 42 to 54 is way more than 20%, because 4 cents is 10, 8 cents is 20. Dude, that's a 30% climb right there, 444. So I'm telling you, I know it sounds silly to wait, but you know, it's for a reason. I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna go ahead and set that alert for 42 cents. I would love to know when that happens. I don't think we need to draw any new lines here either, but yeah, MULN, one more time. Friday looked really good. I'm surprised today isn't better. And again, I realize that there's an uptrend. I'm glad we're well over the candle. And in a lot of ways, this is a good day over day. I think the expectation would have been to beat the 100 this morning. I think a lot of investors would agree with that. So just again, MULN, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. You know, I like MULN when it's ready. I make good money on MULN when it's ready. I'm also just very, very realistic when it's not. Okay, so just you know, not here to bash. Oh my goodness, look at this weekly, okay? Look at how long we've been under this 20 moving literally since the fall of last year. And by fall, I don't mean the season. I mean like the actual like drop of money, right? The fall. But since winter of last year when the fall started, we have never, literally never, that one was close, but it never closed over it. That one closed. Okay, so it's happened this year. If we can get over the 20, and again, if we can get over that, oh, this one's 38 cents. Interesting. All right, I'll put another alert at 38 cents. Let me know what happens at 38 cents. Yeah, if we can get over this 20, get over that little peak, again, there's just good reason to believe we'll come again to that 54 line, which is roughly right here, or like I said, the 50 moving average on this. I think it was the 200 on the other one, but it was around that 78 cents, if I'm not mistaken. Back up, yeah, 78 cents, 200. Okay, so 38 cents was a new one that I drew, and again, that's at least going to put us well over the 100. And then again, I'm still happy with my 42 cent alert because that'll put us over this peak, right? And then hopefully we make our way up. But yeah, MULN not quite yet. Hopefully this bounce off the 50 gets us over the 100 and gets us in play. Otherwise, if we lose the 50, we're under all moving averages and all signs point to coming back to 20. And honestly, oh, let me get rid of this. It's kind of in the way for no reason. I need to make a line right here. I'm actually going to go with this, pretty much trying to be right on the body of that one. And look, it's almost about, yeah, this thing goes to 20 cents if it loses the 50. This thing could go to 78 cents, almost 80 if it breaks the 100. Okay, so definitely an interesting swing right there. Okay, Polestar's been really, really annoying me. I'm gonna be just so sincere, okay? This thing just really, really wanted to break the 100. It does a good job bouncing off a moving average, but look, you've got 3 lines, like it's such a tight cluster. And this thing, for the life of me, has not been able to crack 3 million volume since I've been saying crack 3 million volume. So I'm going to be so sincere. This has been really annoying me because I've wanted to trade this. I really have. Good set of reds, good set of reds. I mean, it's been so long since this 100's been a thing, and there is no 200, right? So I've just been dying for this to get over it, but look, it just hasn't, so there's no reason to force it, right? Just real sad. I'm gonna be real honest. And look, it just goes to show you, right? These moving averages mean a lot. I know we're over the 8 right here. I know we're over the 8 and the 20 right here, but when you've got one that's hard on the top, it sucks, okay? So this has been really annoying. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep my alert on this 6. If we can cross over 6, I think that'll be real good. And yeah, hopefully that'll be able to fill and we can maybe get, roughly speaking, to this 762 line. A little dyslexic right there. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think there's too many lines I need to adjust either. I think I'm going to delete this one. I don't know why that one's there. Let's get rid of that. I'll keep this at the bottom of that. I think we should raise this a little bit too. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to get rid of this, okay? Because now we have the bottom of this and we got the doji there. I'm good with that. Yeah, this line I'm going to keep here. I am. It's roughly the top wick of that. It's roughly 50% of that. It's roughly 50% of that. And we just set the alert for 6. I think that 6 is a good number. Polestar, very annoyed, just personally. I'll be real honest. I wanted to make some money here, and the signs never did it. Again, look at this weekly right here, okay? This is such a new stock that the 20 is barely right here. We haven't even traded for 50 weeks yet. So if we can get over both these lines, we're over every single moving average on the weekly, and it still means something whether there's 2 or all 5, okay? So let's just watch this. My kitty's at the door. I'm sorry. I gotta let her in. What are you doing? Beansies. Hi, Beansies. Oh my God. Look, I'm making a video. Be quiet. All right. So yeah, again, just watch this $6 line. Again, if you can break 6, you'll get over this peak candle, and hopefully red will take us all the way up to that 8, right? And again, 6 to 8 is a real nice swing. It's a little less than 20%, but I mean, it should be the easier move than trying to go from here to 6. I'm telling you. So sorry, I came to the hourly. Yeah, I mean, real quick, just because I clicked the hourly. So where are we at on the hourly, right? So definitely real bad things happen. I'm glad that 200 saved it. We've made our way up, and it doesn't look like this guy's going to come, right? It seems like in the next hour, we're probably going to drop to 560, give or take. Hopefully, we don't lose that and drop all the way to 550 by the end of the day. That would be horrible. Again, we're not here to talk hourlies. We're here to talk dailies and weeklies. It just happened to happen. NKLA, NKLA. I'll be honest, I'm a little bullish on this one. So, you can tell I knew that before the chart got here, right? So let's see what's happening and why I am that, right? So this thing has been, and I'm going to zoom out because I know this thing's been on a hard downtrend. NKLA's relatively newer to these videos, right? But a lot of pain. We start to go horizontal for a good amount of time, and it now looks like we're breaking out of this horizontal. I love that RSI. It's definitely, I wish it was in the 60s, but yeah, there's plenty of room for this thing to go up to 80 for sure. How high was it right here? 73. Okay, hopefully we can break that, but that's a real nice RSI. I love that the MACD is at least in the 0 and still has separation. Look, this thing is good volume away from taking off, okay? A lot more buying than selling, honestly, through almost half of December. Nonetheless, there's been very few days that got over the 50 moving average of volume. If we can get like 12 million, 13 million volume, this thing can really nicely rocket up here, okay? Right now, at least as it speaks, look, 285 seems like a very realistic wall right here because it's the top of that. But again, bunch of reds right here, bunch of reds right here, bunch of reds right here. I mean, this thing could do well if the volume picks up and if NASDAQ keeps holding, right? But it seems like we're at least going to break out of this horizontal and hopefully start making up for a lot of this downtrend, right? Again, look, I mean, there's enough red to believe if we can get over this 3, you're going to get close to 5. All right, so there's really a lot riding on this 3 number right here. You can almost set the alert for the 100 moving average, and again, going from the 100 to 3 something, almost to 5 something. That's a nice swing, right? Not quite 5 something, 4 something, but still good swing. I'm gonna say good swing nonetheless, right? Because every 30 cents is 10%. 30 is 90. We're definitely making more than $1. So yeah, there's more than 30% right there, right? So NKLA looking good. It looks like the horizontal might be ending, and hopefully we start making up for this downtrend right here, right? And look, just real quick, I haven't even talked about it, but it's been a while since we've gotten over the 50, right? We were able to do it right here, and I love the fact that we're over this break of the 50, and we're over this one and this one. I mean, this was a big line to break for sure. So hopefully we get volume, and yeah, all signs are really pointing to 320, maybe 285. I think these are going to be the next 2 targets right here. The weekly, I can't imagine. Oh, hey, it's actually a little bit better than I expected. I did not think we were over the 8 for the last, I mean, it's the first day of the week, right? But for 3 weekly candles, we are still well over the 8, which is actually pretty nice. Did not expect that. And look, that 285 line would put us roughly at the 20, right? That was where we had our, yeah, exactly, right? So yeah, 285 might actually be a decent resistance, but if we break that 285, and again, if we break this 308, look at all that red, that will take us pretty much to 461, right? So a lot of eyes on this 3 number for sure. And look, I mean, just we need volume, right? If we can get 10 million over the next 5 days, that'll put us roughly at 50, right? I want like 13 to put us a little bit more than 50 by the end of Friday, and hopefully that actually breaks the 20, right? But look, I like the fact that we've actually made attempts at breaking this thing, right? We just haven't had continual follow through, right? Maybe this is going to be the 1-2 boom boom where we're actually able to break the 20 and get confirmation. But yeah, Nikola is actually looking pretty good here. RIVN, RIVN. Okay, here it is. A lot of good actually happening here, right? A lot, man. I'm going to for sure set my alert right here. Again, an alert is not an immediate buy, but if we can get over this line, oh my goodness, look at all that red. Pretty much takes us to the 50, if not the 50, almost as high as roughly the 100. Right? Maybe this one becomes the strongest of the resistances and takes us to the 100. But RIVN looks like it might be ready. I'm liking that MACD. I'm liking the RSI trying to peak out. We've actually had volume over the 50 moving average the last, all of these days, actually. All of these, man, there's been good volume here. There's been more selling than buying, clearly. But it looks like it's turning around a little bit right here. Yeah, 881 is going to be the magic number. If this gets over 881, we're going to have confirmation that we've broken both lines. And again, just so many reds to fill. RIVN looking real nice, actually. Clearly, this is a bad weekly, right? We're well under the 8 for so many weeks. However, we're losing it. We're going horizontal. Hopefully, we start making that upward curve starting this week, right? But RIVN is actually looking real good. And let's be honest, RIVN has suffered, okay? So there's a lot of room for this thing to do well. And I mean, roughly speaking, this can almost give you a 50% bounce right there if that whole thing fills. So RIVN's looking real nice, actually. Lucid, LCID. Okay, hey, look, this is, it's almost the opposite of what we just saw, right? So a whole mess of trading well under the 8. You start to go a little horizontal, and then look, all this red, right, pretty much to here, has just filled. Not quite as up, right? It goes a little horizontal on our line right here, but yeah, we literally just turn all of this red into all of this green, right? And we went from 6 to 8. That's almost a 50% move right there, right? Lucid, beautiful movement, right? So you gotta love it. And where are we now? So look, this right here is gonna be a little hard to get through, and obviously that's the 50, right? But if this breaks the 50, here's a good shot you're coming right here, right? Again, you have another horizontal point right here. But hey, even from here to here is a pretty healthy trade, actually. So still a lot to like. You're definitely going to want it. Yeah, I mean, it's literally right on the 50. So just make sure you get over, let's call it 870. 870 is going to probably be the next place you can consider either an average up or potentially an entry point. But yeah, gotta love Lucid right here, and I imagine it's a good weekly. Okay, nice, right? Red might turn into some greens all the way up to this 10 right here, right? We're over the 8, not a beautiful confirmation, but loving this week, right? Nice MACD, not quite a good RSI, but yeah, this is a decent week. Decent weekly for sure, and this is a beautiful daily chart right here. So gotta love it, right? Gotta love it. Lucid, looking good. Charge point. Okay, interesting. Pretty much the same thing, actually. This one wasn't as devastating chunks of red. It's not like it was like a whole series of red, right? But look, a lot of down, not quite a lot of horizontal. This thing kind of pretty much started going up, right? I love the fact that we broke a bunch of lines. Clearly, it's going to be hard to get over both of those two. But roughly speaking, this 50 catches us relatively well. And after, again, still a couple hours of trading, but we are at least back over the 8, which is a nice thing, right? And we didn't even have to use the 20 as the bounce point. So definitely still a lot of things to like. Look, I really wouldn't touch this until we get over the 200, right? I don't want to battle between these two. I want to trade above all of them, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, this definitely is a nice chart. I love this healthy bounce, right? It was able to reset the RSI. There's reason to believe we can definitely go from here to here, right? It's just, again, personally, I'd rather go from here all the way up if it happens, right? But yeah, this is not a bad chart by any means. And clearly we've made a pretty good profit here as well, right? So what's the weekly? You know, this is not as nice as the other ones, right? Because you get a big candle, and really we still haven't cracked the candle yet. So I would love to end Friday around 12, and that would make me feel real good. Let's get over this big day by Friday at 12, and then look, if Friday gets to 12, we're pretty much back over that thing as well, right? So a lot of good things would happen around that $12 number. But yeah, charge point looking good. Again, personally, I would just wait to crack those and trade a little bit cleaner. NIO. Okay, we talked about NIO and Lee. We also talked about liking NIO a little bit more just because of the spacing of the moving averages. And I mean, clearly it's kind of the same thing we've seen on a bunch of charts, right? And it goes back to what we saw on the NASDAQ when we started it. Things were looking good. We had a little bit of a scare on the NASDAQ, and then boom, we go back up. This is just, even if you didn't know the NASDAQ, right? Over the 8, lose this cluster, able to use the 20 as a bounce point, and we're back over it, right? All signs really are pointing, because look, we're right back into this red cluster, right? Signs are kind of pointing to at least come to 1250, if not all the way up to this 1325 where the 100 moving is, roughly speaking, right? But yeah, NIO, I remember being bullish last week. Nice MACD, nice RSI, just a little more volume would be good, but clearly way more buying than selling, right? Weekly. Okay, this is a big test on the weekly, right? Get us over the 20, and that would be huge, right? Really get us over 1323. I'll go ahead and set an alert right there. And there's a whole mess of reds to fill all the way up to 17 right there, actually, right? Maybe the 50 will stop us somewhere around 16. But yeah, I mean, it's a mid 16 anyway, so that's a good trade from roughly 1250, 1240 to 1650. That's nice right there, right? So yeah, NIO was looking good, and it definitely delivered. I believe NIO was looking a little better than Lee as well. Clearly, it's actually up a couple percentages more, right? But yeah, this is definitely over more moving averages, right? There's 4 that it's under and 1 on top. But what I did like with NIO, again, was the spacing of the moving averages, right? That's why I felt this one was going to be a little better, because again, that's a nicer space right there versus Lee, which again looks good because it's over all these lines, right? But it's just a little tighter, so there was just a little bit of less room before the resistance hit. But nonetheless, look, 6% here, 9% there. They both looked good. They both delivered today, right? So, and then if you watch my major market videos, we are covering the Chinese ETFs. And yeah, I mean, those are looking good too, right? So there was definitely reasons to feel good coming into here. But again, where are we? We're over all moving averages. I'd love good confirmation tomorrow, because again, we actually weren't as of Friday. So this was the day. But yeah, I mean, again, at this point, it does seem like we're coming to this 25 right at the 200 moving average here. So what's the weekly look like real quick? Yeah, it's a good weekly. It is, right? And I mean, a bunch of reds to still fill that might take you over 30, right? And then really, if this thing was to break 30, there's a lot of room for this thing to fly. So Lee actually does look interesting. Obviously, we're still a ways from it, but yeah, a lot of good things can really happen if we break that 200 moving average. Okay, solo. Look. This thing obviously, look, this thing was in all-time lows. I hate stocks in all-time lows. It definitely dropped a lot in the all-time lows. And then again, just like we saw, when there's a bunch of reds in a row, it will eventually turn into greens. You just got to be patient, right? But look, I mean, this is classic TA, right? Couldn't quite break this 50 with the good confirmation we wanted, right? Break it, but that's not good confirmation. That is actually decent right there I'll be honest, that third day, because it obviously gets us over this, but we were still well under this candle, right? So that's at least how you would have been able to kind of prevent that fool out. Nonetheless, look, we're at least trading with the 50, so that's a decent thing. I wish we were over the 50, that's for sure. But yeah, that's a really high RSI. That thing's at 77, right? I don't know if there's going to be enough juice to push it one more time to get to the 100. It really seems like we're going to need to cool down, and the problem is you might drop to 80 cents on the cool down. Maybe this 86-cent line can save it, and I'll go ahead and draw that right there. Maybe that 86-cent will save it, but yeah, this thing's definitely going to need to cool down if I had to guess, right? So, but nonetheless, a very nice climb. That is for sure, right? Where are we on the week? Oh, wait, better weekly than I expected. Good crack of the 8. Not quite that 8 confirmation that we wanted, though, right? So, definitely still over it both weeks. But yeah, I would have wanted a good green candle that probably put us over the 20, actually. So, not a beautiful weekly, not a horrible weekly, but definitely not a beautiful one by any means. Solo. LIDR, LIDR, we have a couple more left. Interesting day here on LIDR. Okay. Yeah, I mean, really, this thing got caught by the 8 moving average, right? And there's definitely a good amount of red happening right here. Unfortunately, this 50 is just kind of a little too close for comfort, right? Maybe wait for the 50 to break and ride it up to this. But even if this breaks, you're kind of, yeah, this one is a decent chart. It's just, it's a little tighter than ideal. It really is. Honestly, it's sad to say, but I would probably wait for the break of the 100 before I even touch this, because all this right here is super horizontal, pretty much on this line. But after this line, you can see it very much starts to drop, right? So if you can get over this, that might be a much nicer climb. And look, you're under $1 to well over $2, right? There is a very nice 50% gap right there. So in all honesty, I would wait for LIDAR. I wouldn't even wait for the 50. I would wait for this. But again, that's just me, right? Obviously different trading styles, different risk and reward strategies, right? But yeah, definitely not a good weekly. We're still kind of struggling to break the 8 on the weekly, right? So nothing really seems sustained. Get me a little closer to that dollar number that we were just talking about, and it'll at least put us over the 20. And look, the 20 has been no joke for sure, right? So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with my LIDAR comments for sure. EVGO, I know this made a real, oh wow, I did not know that this thing dropped 16% today. I had no idea. I don't know if this is earnings related or not, but man, that was a surprise to see. Nonetheless, look, red, very easily turned, right? And look, there was a good move here. You put a line right here. Once it breaks that thing, it actually lines up right with the 20. Beautiful move up, right? And again, I'll be honest, this 16%, I did not know this was what's happening, right? But yeah, I mean, this thing's been on a hard downtrend, right? So I'm glad it's at least making some money back for anyone that held through this. But yeah, I mean, look, good MACD, decent RSI, beautiful volume right here, a whole mess of buying, that's for sure. It seems like this will come to this $7 line at the 100 moving average. And I mean, honestly, it might even come to 730. It might come to this horizontal right here, right? I don't know if it'll break the 730, but hey, I mean, a lot's been happening here. And again, I don't know if earnings were released here or not, but yeah, that's actually way better than I expected. Yeah, if this can get over the 20, that'd be great. My cat's at the door. Let me let her out. What are you doing? Come on. There you go. Again, get over the 20 on the weekly and I'd be a little happier to feel it's more sustained. But yeah, I mean, this is huge for sure. And actually very unexpected, I'll be real honest. And we still haven't even bounced off the 20 yet, right? So it seems like the 8's going to go up. It seems like this 20 is ready to go. And I think we'll be able to use the 20 as a support versus this like horrible resistance it's been. So EVGO is an interesting one. Again, a lot of profit's been made. I guess, I mean, honestly, look, if you're not in already, you would probably want to wait till after the 731. Really, at that point, you probably want to just wait till after 8 and get in after the 200, right? But yeah, this one was missed. I'm not in this, I'll be honest, and I wouldn't jump in this. But interesting, real interesting chart, actually. VLDR. Okay, nice. So cool. Look at this thing, right? Definitely making its play on the 200, on the 100 right now, right? Where's the 200 at? And the 200 right there, right? So, and we've actually broken this before a couple times. So I would pretty much, yeah, I mean, I would put the line right here. And I would watch to see what happens at 101. If this thing breaks 101, there's a real good reason to believe we're coming up roughly 125. That's a 25% swing right there, right? Roughly speaking. So VLDR could be interesting. And RSI is not too high. And look, we just need some good volume. If this thing can get some good volume, that'd be huge, right? But yeah, tomorrow, hopefully will give us the good confirmation of all these line breaks. Hopefully that takes us to that 101. And there might be a 25% after right there. Interesting. And look, we're actually over the 8 and the 20. And there's reason to believe we might actually even come to this roughly 150, right? 116 looks like it'll be a potential resistance. But hey, I'm liking that we're over the, look at this 20. I mean, this 20 has been a pain, right? And we haven't had real good follow through, right? This one broke it, definitely went under it, but good back day after, right? So this is the first time the third day was okay, right? So I would definitely watch this one. I would watch this one. Did we set the alert? I don't remember if we did. We'll do it one more time. Cool. Okay, and then last on the list is GTEC. Man, this thing, again, look, I talked, volume 7,000, okay? I'm going to go to the minute really quickly. There is very little trading happening here, right? Literally one person, three people are kind of dictating what happens here, right? So just be careful when the minute chart looks like this, okay? I can't stress that enough. Sorry, I went to the hour, not the daily. Nonetheless, I mean, look, there's some technical analysis happening here, right? Super hard cluster, just so happens it violently goes up instead of down, right? And I mean, today actually got us over all those lines as well, right? So this thing, I mean, where are we? Shit. I mean, theoretically, this thing might be coming up to 323 because there's a whole mess of red days right here. And like I said, if you want to put a line, let's put a line right here. I guess I would watch 275. Nonetheless, and then really, like I said, that would pretty much take you to right here. However, again, volume is so low, you've really got to be careful here, okay? But yeah, I mean, profit's profit. It's just a matter of how much risk you're willing to take, right? But I imagine the weekly is going to look okay. Yeah, this weekly actually looks all right. It's just, again, volume at one point was around 5 million. Now it's not even, not even 10,000, right? So just volume is really what's holding this back. But one more time, look where we're sitting right now. There are a lot of reds that really might take us all the way to this 315 number, right? And that's the same thing we just said on the daily, right? There's a good reason to believe we're coming to roughly right here, 319, right? So yeah, interesting. Again, just a matter of risk tolerance, but yeah, that's just super low volume for me. But hey, I hope you're learning. I sincerely appreciate your time. Thank you so much.